Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. It's a big day for gold and silver. Let's explore. By the percentage gains that we're seeing today, one may be a little confused by that title. Why is it a big day for gold and silver? I mean, silver only moved up 38 cents. It's not a bad move for a day. Almost a 1.5% climb over the day. Gold climbed just over a half a percentage point, up $10.70. So why is it really that big of a day for gold and silver? Well, these numbers were actually a little higher earlier in the day. In fact, gold was getting very close to $2,000 an ounce, and silver did climb up over $26 an ounce. We'll take a look at the chart to see the flow of the precious metal here today. And this is bid price, and it did get up to $25.80 for the bid, which means it was really close to $26. In fact, some showed the futures at over $26 an ounce. But nonetheless, we're going to get into that. Let's talk about what happened today. Gold and silver see price gains as another U.S. inflation report runs hot for the second day in a row. We did get the CPI numbers yesterday. Jim Wyckoff reports here from Kitco News that gold and silver are posting modest gains in early U.S. action Wednesday following yet another U.S. inflation report that ran record hot. June gold futures were last up, 1981 for the futures earlier. And the May COMEX silver was up 13 cents to $25.88 an ounce. On tap today for the U.S. was another inflation report. The Producer Price Index for March, you've heard me talk about that in prior videos, came up at 1.4% from February and compares to the forecast for up 1.1%. Year on year, the Producer Price Index was up 11.2%. which is a record leading for the report. On Tuesday, the U.S. Consumer Price Index for March was the highest reading in over 40 years, at up just over 8% year on year. And so that is, by the way, the official measure. If they were to measure it as they have done back in the 80s, it would be much higher. That Shadow Stats is an organization that keeps track of it, how it would have been. In fact, well into double digits if we were to use those numbers. Global stock markets were mixed to firmer overnight. U.S. stock indexes are pointing towards mixed openings when the New York day session begins. Focus on equities traders is on corporate earnings reports. So the price did get up, and they kind of scaled back a little bit here. And so what is it? What is it about? Why is it such a big deal? Well, Todd Bubba Horowitz has an article with the same title here, Big Day for Gold and Silver, and that talks a little bit about this and interjects some of my comments as well too. And with this 40-year CPI number, with a big rally early followed by a hard sell-off, gold and silver charged higher, closing above the critical resistance in gold and slightly below in silver. Silver tends to kind of lag a bit, although the ratio has narrowed. We'll get to that in a moment. Gold and silver are higher this morning along with platinum. A higher close in gold and silver would trigger a reversal. A reversal, this looks to be the case, although we remain short gold and silver. We're not aggressive sellers. We understand the pattern is changing. It sure is. Looking at the big picture of markets, equities are ready to fall apart. Observing price action, it appears that the institutions and commercial traders are holding up markets, allowing retail traders to buy the dip. Gold and silver look the opposite and appear ready to run, and they've pulled back from today. But why is this a big deal? Precious metal should be owned on a physical basis with capital that is not needed tomorrow anytime soon. Trading should be done with paper, knowing that we can trade either side without emotions. And so something about holding the physical that does have an emotional attachment to it, especially if you have paying higher premiums for that physical. In all markets, price action determines what will happen the next day, week, or month. Keep the two strategies separate. The worst trade anyone can make is turning a trade into an investment, hoping for a way out. Traders must learn to take their losses and move on to the next trade. Patience, discipline, and money management always wins the day. Let the map of the market show you the way. Now, that is certainly true, and I think Mr. Horowitz missed the mark to tell why this was a big day for gold and silver. And really, as of yesterday, it's because the precious metal prices are reacting completely based off the inflation. When you see it move for that reason and that reason alone, it's a big day, because a lot of times it doesn't. The dollar index plays a role and always does play a role, but there's less faith, and the dollar gets weakened a bit by these numbers, especially when you see it surpass the forecast. And we've seen that twice, 2 days in a row, first with the CPI and now with the producer price index. And so when you look at these numbers, it tells you that though they're not large moves, we are setting ourselves up for solid resistance. Again, you've heard me talk about silver's resistance at about $25. That was blown out of the water. It got below $25. But with this move today, I believe this sets us up for some solid resistance. And most conservatively, that we'll probably not see much lower prices than what we're seeing now, or at least we shouldn't. Although, obviously, emotion does rule the day with the markets on a day-to-day trade, as Mr. Horowitz has mentioned. So all bets should be off. But anytime you see continued inflation, in fact, they are talking about it now as that we have reached peak inflation and that it should go down from now. But we've heard this before with transitory inflation, and we'll see it move back. But then Janet Yellen pretty much admitted not long ago, as I've reported, that we're going to see inflation through the next 12 months. Of course, that was about a month ago, so let's say the next 11 months, just under a year. The gold to silver ratio is now just below 77 at 76.94. That should be somewhat encouraging to silver stackers, and based off of the move today, which is why it's a big deal and a big day for both gold and silver. Gold is hanging on and about to reach those highs again above $2,000 again, and silver is reacting and climbing up and moving at a faster pace than gold now. So that is encouraging to see for those who have been wondering or been concerned, when is silver going to break out? Well, I think that this very well could spark the beginning of a breakout for silver. I really do. Now, it could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. Don't take my hunch or my intuition for anything but a grain of salt, because it's just a feeling I have based off of why prices move today. And by the way, you'll notice the platinum group metals were mixed here. Surprising, but although platinum sparked up over 2% climb today, and I think some of that may largely be because of what we talked about last week, but that's a separate topic here. But look at that, gold and silver up modestly today for a very good reason. And as we see these numbers and inflation do what it does, I believe that we are going to see less likely of a chance that gold and silver will drop too much. We could still see drops later this year, and as is the case with all markets, they kind of erratically move one way or the other, especially silver. But the fact that it was a modest gain today and for the last 2 days, but a noticeable gain, should tell us something. I think that's the reason why it's a big day. They didn't just react emotionally and just skyrocket, up $1 in a day in a dramatic move. It was not a sexy day for the markets with gold and silver, but it was a noticeable market, which is why this day, April 13th and April 12th, 2022, should be remembered for the modest gains that very well could mean and spell a steady increase for gold and silver as people realize, and finally the ETF markets realize that, hey, these are for the long stay, and you should have physical in your possession. I believe it's definitely wise to have. But hey, if you're in the ETF space, people are buying it up there, and I think that is one reason why we are seeing these prices rise. People are buying into it, realizing that they need a hedge of protection against inflation. and they're doing it there. You and I, most people that watch this channel, do it in the physical space and will continue to do so in spite of the high premiums. And yes, they're high all around, especially for Silver Eagles, but even for privately issued pieces. I know I've made a purchase, and I have not yet to show it, but I may do that very, very soon. Buying on a dip. Silver, got a pretty good deal at my local coin shop. I'll talk about that in due course. So there you go. Let me know what your thoughts are. A big day for gold and silver, but not because of a radical move, but because of why they moved. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you, I don't just say this lightly, I mean every word of it, to please rate. That means thumb up the video. It does help the algorithm if you do that. Share it. That definitely helps the algorithm. Share it on other social media platforms with your friends, families, pets, inanimate objects. Comment on this video. Let me know you're here. And subscribe.